Good evening, everyone. My name is Corporal Thorne. I have been with Anne Arundel County Police Department for 5 years. 4 of those years, I was a patrol officer in our Western District. I currently work with our Youth and Victim Engagement Services unit, where I work directly with our community and with the youth in our community. My goal for this webinar as a patrol officer is to ensure that you feel empowered to make a report. As we are living in this world, you may feel uneasy or uncomfortable to make a police report or even speak with a police officer. Please know that we are here to help and to listen. Your voice matters and you deserve to be heard. Now, you may ask, how do I report a hate crime or a hate bias incident? For that, while filing a police report for a hate crime or a hate bias incident, it really doesn't have to be hard. While it may be scary, I want you to be able to use your voice and advocate for yourself. There is no shame in asking for help, even to make a police report. If you are a victim of a hate bias incident or crime, contact the police. We won't know that you are a victim unless you contact us or tell a trusted person who is willing to help you take the precautionary steps to make a police report. Also, you might think there's only one way in contacting police, but there are multiple ways. Here are a few ways you can contact and report a hate bias crime or incident. If it's an emergency and you are in immediate danger, of course, contact 911. If you are no longer in an immediate danger or have a current emergency, you can contact our non-emergency number. When you contact 911 or even the non-emergency number, you are first speaking with the call taker. The call taker will ask you questions such as what happened, where are you located, are you currently on scene where the incident occurred, what is your name, where is the suspect, and do you need any medical attention, and so forth. Once the call taker collects all the information from you, the call is generated and a dispatcher then dispatches the call to a patrol officer, which is me, and it'll be dispatched based on your location provided. A call can only be generated if you would like to speak or see an officer at that very moment. Anne Arundel County is broken up in 4 districts: Northern, Eastern, Western, and Southern. If you don't feel comfortable for an officer to come out to your residence or even the location as to where it occurred because you're either scared or you would like some privacy, you can always go to our nearest police station and report the incident. You don't have to go to your respective district based on where you live. You can go anywhere. So, for example, if the incident happened in Western District, but you live in Southern District, you don't have to go all the way down to Southern District to make that report. You can head right to Western District. The address for each district is listed on your screen that you see. When you arrive at the police station, there's a desk officer always there. Even if you have just a few questions, or you just want to know about your rights, or you're just not sure what to ask, an officer will be there to assist you. Now, let me walk you through what happens once I receive the call from my dispatcher. When I receive the call from my dispatcher, I respond immediately. If there is an immediate danger where a weapon is involved or there are significant injuries, I will be arriving with lights and sirens. If not, I will still be there immediately and as safely as possible. Through all this, you think my safety and my well-being, that's important, right? So once I arrive on scene, I have to scan the area to see what I have, while also remembering the notes that my dispatcher gave me before my arrival. I understand that scenes can be very hectic and sometimes they can also be neutral, but I will ensure you that you will be safe. If there is an injury, we will tend to that injured person until the fire department arrives to provide further medical assistance. Now, an investigation, you always and we will always be professional during that time. Once the scene is safe and secure, we continue our investigation. The investigation involves speaking to the victim or victims and suspect if the suspect is still on scene. If the suspect is not on scene, I will ask the victim or any witnesses to provide the best description as possible so that I can relay the information to my side partners who are either on their way or currently on scene. If the suspect is still in the area or we believe for that person to be in the area, a canvass will be done in attempts to locate the suspect. I would also speak with any witnesses who stayed on scene. Another important step to our investigation is finding and preserving any evidence that we may find. We have markers that's provided as needed to identify any evidence until our evidence collection unit arrives, which you may hear is ECU. All information and parties involved will be provided a case number. That case number will be used to identify your incident specifically and can also be used if you need to get any updates or copies of your police report. We want to reassure you that we handle your case with the seriousness and dedication, ensuring all protocols are followed. When it comes to a detailed report, you may say, what is in this detailed report? When it comes to writing a police report for a hate bias incident or even a crime, a report will always be documented. Please know that there is nothing too small to report, and all details that's provided will be included. To ensure that all information is fresh and accurate, to give you also just the ease of mind, the patrol officer has to complete their report by the end of their tour of duty. So if I start at 3 o'clock and the incident happens at 3 o'clock, I have until the tour of my duty to complete that report. Once the report is completed, it is approved by a supervisor, and then it's forwarded to our district detectives who will continue the investigation. Now, based on the circumstances of the case, such as if the case becomes a homicide, that is also a hate crime, our Criminal Investigation Division would be in charge of that case, which also is our CID. Throughout this entire seminar, you're going to hear about compassion and empathy. Compassion and empathy is very important. To anyone that has been a victim, I want to say I am truly sorry for what you have experienced. No one should ever be targeted or feel unsafe because of who they are, what they believe, or whom they love. We know that calling the police can be very stressful, and you may feel lost on what to do. We are here to listen, and we want you to feel safe enough to tell us what happened. We are here to support you, not to judge you. You don't have to go through this alone. Your courage in coming forward is deeply respected. As a victim, you may think, what are my rights, and how do I figure out what my rights are? Well, while you're on scene, an officer will provide a victim witness pamphlet. This pamphlet is just not for victims or someone that has been going through this, but it is for anyone who's actually witnessed a hate bias incident or even a crime. The pamphlet includes a list of different things, a bullet point list of your rights as a victim, how to get a peace or protective order, and lastly, phone numbers to resources and state's attorneys based in your county. Now let's talk about what some rights are as a victim that you may have. So for some examples, your rights are being notified of our crisis intervention and our counseling services, which is our crisis intervention team known as CIT. Also being notified of court hearings and offender custody status. Also, you will also be known or being told of notifications of domestic violence programs and many more. Now, when it comes to a peace or protective order, there's two different things. There's a peace order and there's a protective order. In that pamphlet, there's an explanation as to which order to file based on your acquaintance with the suspect or person involved with the hate bias incident or crime. It also provides the address in which courthouse to attend when applying for a peace order or a protective order. Lastly, the phone numbers that you will see, our categories also include numbers for child abuse services, domestic violence services, legal services, juvenile school violence resources, sexual assault resources, and many more. Now, for Anne Arundel County, of course, there's one state's attorney's number. But if you have to deal with anybody else in Maryland, when it comes to state's attorneys, there's a list of numbers there as well. This pamphlet is a great resource to have. Now, as I come to a close, I want to speak to the victims or anyone that has been a part of a hate bias incident or a crime. I understand how upsetting and painful it can be to be a target of hateful or biased behavior. It is important to note that we respond to many hate bias incidents that do not rise to the level of a crime. This often involves a suspect using negative or intolerant words. While we understand that language is very hurtful, it is often protected by the U.S. Constitution guarantee of free speech. I want you to know that an official police report will still be taken. This is to ensure that it is reported to our state police and our federal partners, such as FBI, for tracking purposes. Remember, that your story matters and you have the right to tell it. Your safety, dignity, and peace of mind matters to us. Thank you for listening.
Corporal Thorne, thank you so much. That was a very thorough presentation, packed with a lot of great information. You know, we understand you walked everyone through sort of start to finish how to report a hate bias incident. You know, that can be overwhelming at times, but why is it important for individuals to know their rights and to be able to have this walk through, you know, step by step? Why is it so important?
Of course. It is important to walk victims through what to do step by step because they deserve to be informed, supported, and treated with respect throughout this entire process. The process can be very overwhelming, it can be scary, but it's very doable. We want to make sure that every step that is being taken properly and to give them the best chance to gather accurate information. To be honest, assisting with step by step is never a problem. Also, I believe that it helps the victim regain a sense of control and confidence after something that have left them feeling very powerless. So we just want people to know that we are here to help you to walk through step by step and that we are here.
Thank you so much for that thoughtful response. I want to ask a couple more questions. One of the themes tonight that our audience is going to hear about along the lines of this topic is empathy and compassion and trust. Why is empathy and compassion specifically so important in a situation like this?
Of course. In academy, we were always told that when it comes to when someone contacts the police, they're often living the worst day of their lives. That stuck with me because your life can literally change in the blink of an eye. Um, Showing empathy and compassion is always the right thing to do. There shouldn't be any stipulations put in place to determine whether I or any other officer that you come in contact with should not show you sympathy or empathy or compassion during this time. I took an oath, and all the officers took an oath to protect you and not to judge you, to be impartial and not biased. As a victim or even a witness, I have to understand that they just went through something that can leave a lasting impact. And a person will always remember how you treated them during that time of vulnerability. So we just want people to really know that your vulnerability is safe with us and we will take it seriously.
Thank you so much for that. And you talked about sort of that lasting impact, and this can be traumatizing. And that leads to my final question. You know, there are times where people may be hesitant to come forward and report something like this. What would be your message to them?
My message to them is that I completely understand that it can be difficult to come forward and report what happened. You may feel unsure, afraid, or even discouraged after experiencing something that was motivated by hate or bias. Please know that your feelings are completely valid. Reporting a hate or bias incident is not just about filing a police report. It is about making sure that you feel safe, supported, and heard. When you report, it doesn't just help us specifically with you, but it also helps us to know what's happening in our community so that we can respond appropriately to prevent any further harm and also to be able to contact you with any resources that you may need. So please remember that you're always in control of this process. And our role here is to support you, not pressure you, but for you to understand and to know that your voice is important.
That's great, Corporal Thorne. Thank you so much. That was great information. Appreciate all your thorough responses, and hopefully the audience is taking notes. That's some really good information. And just grateful that you were here tonight. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
With that being said, we want to move